I know what you're thinking. It's a big ass wreath. You're absolutely right. That wreath is 35 inches in diameter, 12.5 inches wide. There's 200 feet of garland, 100 feet of lights, and a custom-made bow, as you see. Underneath all of that is a really heavy Nitto Recon tire and a Rocktrix wheel. Now, ever since I put this on, I've been worried about my tailgate. And in this video, we're going to address that. And I found what I believe to be not only one of the best looking tailgate reinforcements on the market, also one of the best made. So let's go ahead and take a look at this product and let's get this install done. Not gonna lie, I'm gonna miss the wreath. All right, so I got my Mabett tailgate reinforcement here. Let me tell you something. First thing, this thing has got some weight to it. It is heavy duty. I know on the website it lists that it's made out of aluminum alloy. It's got a special coating on it so it doesn't rust. It's got some other really cool features that we'll look at once we get it installed, but let's go ahead and do an inventory. Take a look. Don't mind me while I eat some boiled peanuts and we'll go from there. Come a little closer and let's take a look. All right, so got our instructions. Oh, it's got new hinges altogether. Whoa, I did not realize that. These things are heavy, very heavy. Got our hardware and the plate. And yeah, that thing is solid, very solid. So just to do an inventory, we've got the plate, got the 2 hinges. We should have 8 bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and they provided 1 extra of each one. Everything looks good. Let's go ahead and start this install. All right, so our first step is going to be, man, this thing opens so easily without the tire on there. First step is going to be to remove the gas strut down here. Pull that little clip off and that will come right down. Make sure you don't lose the clip. Once the clip's there, we're going to close this up. This is my 3rd brake light. Next thing we're going to do is remove the 4 bolts from the hinges. So let's go ahead and do that. I suggest loosening both of them before undoing one of them altogether, because you'll see it will drop down a little bit and be some added pressure on them. Once the hinges are removed, we're going to place the door inside. Once we got the door in, we're going to be removing these 1, 2, 3, 4 retaining screws, and then 2 of the bolts on the inside to remove this plastic piece. So let's do that. If there's one thing I hate on vehicles, it's these plastic retaining screws. I can't stand these things, man. Normally I get so impatient that I just pry them off, and I bought a kit to replace them, but I'm really trying to be patient. Something that I've been told I need to work on. Then we got 10mm socket, 1, 2. Then once those 2 bolts are out and the 4 screws or plastic retaining clips, we're just pulling this out. And the whole purpose of getting that out is so, all right, and for the 4 bolts here, we have a 1/2 inch socket. One thing I will tell you is paint on these, so you kind of have to wiggle it to get it on. Once it's on, it breaks pretty easily. Gonna make sure we hold on to these. And there's one of the hinges. Just gonna repeat for the bottom. I will say, be careful with your door right here, because I almost hit this. Don't want to scratch it. And there's hinge number 2. Now we're just going to pretty much install the Mabett tailgate reinforcement in reverse. But before we do that, let's go take a look at the difference between the factory hinges and the Mabett hinges that we're going to put on there. All right, y'all, so let's compare these hinges. All right, so the first thing I will say, definitely heavier, definitely heavier. And look at the girth here, definitely more thickness here. Yeah, there's definitely some weight difference between these hinges. So you can definitely see the thickness difference between the two. Let's go ahead and go get them installed. All right, so now we've done the comparison. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to install the hinges. And one thing we want to make sure that we do is that the hinge that goes on top has the notch on top, and the one that goes on the bottom will have the notch facing down. So we are going to line these up. We're going to just hand tighten these first using the original screws. Then we're going to repeat for the bottom. There we go. Now, one thing you're going to notice, there is some play in here, and that's so we can make sure that we're getting the alignment nicely before we tighten this up. All right, once we have those hand tightened, we're going to carefully pick the tailgate up and place it back into the position. Now, if you had somebody to assist you, this would be a nice time to do it, but I'm going to try to do this like I do pretty much all my videos by myself. Let's see how this goes. All right, now that it's sitting there, we are going to put the hinges back on. Again, lightly tighten them, and then we're gonna do our alignments. All right, so once we get these back on, and just know that like getting it lined up, it may take a little time, so be patient. But I had to lift up under here with my fingers, pull the gate up a little bit, making sure it lines up pretty nicely. Opening and closing. Still want to be gentle because we haven't tightened the hinges on the inside, which is what we're going to do right now. Now I'm going to tighten them, but not all the way, because I still want to test the fit, how it opens and closes. Now to me, when I'm closing it, I feel like it's a little low on this end. I feel like it's hit. I mean, it's closing fine and it moves up, but I want it to be a little smoother. So I am going to loosen the hinges, lift up just slightly, and retighten. Perfect. All right, so that did take a little bit of time, and it is definitely more difficult to do that portion of getting the alignment set up by yourself. I ended up having to put some tools underneath and lifting up and loosening, retightening, but do not skimp on this part. All right, it's going to be, if yours is like mine, what's going to happen is this end is going to be slightly lower than it should be, and it's going to hit on here. Now, it will go ahead and close because this will force the door to go up. I don't recommend that. That's going to cause some wear and tear to your mechanism here. So really make sure to get that part dialed in, because that's going to be really, really important. I mean, the whole point of us putting on a tailgate reinforcement is to keep this in alignment so it doesn't warp, so it doesn't bend down because of the weight of the extra tire, especially the larger tires. So, but once you get it on, beautiful. No knocking, closes up smoothly. Check your lines. Perfect, looks great. New hinges on, definitely beefier than the original. So let's continue on with the install. All right, so now everything lines up, we're tightened up. One thing I wanted to point out that I recommend doing if you haven't done already is these tire stops. If you have upgraded your wheels to larger wheels, which obviously I'm sure you have, since that's the reason why you're doing tailgate reinforcement, those stops would not touch my tire. So I'll show you. Here are the factory stops, and what I was using was a practice, I don't know if it's like a racket ball or what it is. I bought it at Walmart, but I just stuck them on there and was doing that. But it was annoying because every time I took the tire off, or they did a tire rotation, the ball would fall out, and it was a pain in the butt trying to get your hand back there. So I found these stoppers at Barnes, 4-wheel drive. I installed those. Now they're adjustable, not really adjustable, but you have to cut them. So I've cut them to a length I think is that there's too much on there. So I'll need to trim it some more, but I wanted to get it down a little bit so I could at least get the tire on and determine how many more that I need to cut off. But I'm excited about putting these on. And I would highly suggest you do this either before you do the reinforcement or during the reinforcement. So let's continue on with this install. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna remove these 4 bolts here. Now we're taking the plate. Now, one thing I will point out that I'm glad they did, they put some foam on the inside here as to not scratch up your paint. Now, one thing I want to point out, on these brackets, double check, because you might have these little screw protectors covering. Definitely need to remove those. The bottom one of mine didn't have them in there, so we're good there. We're going to be first doing the 4 small screws. All right, just lightly put those in. I don't ever tighten anything down until the end. Got those in. Then we're going to do the 4 provided longs screws. We're going to put them up here. And there we go. Now it's tightened up. Got to say, I love the way it looks. Very nice. Now let's make sure it opens and closes. Still got a few more things to do, but that's pretty much it. All right, so now we just got to put this back in. Again, it's just the 4 plastic retaining clips and 2 of the bolts. And if you haven't seen, there is a little Easter egg right here with some GPS coordinates. I won't spoil the surprise for you. I have already spoiled it for you in one of my other videos, but let you go check it out. Go exploring. Once that's in, all that's left is to put on the strut. All right, now that everything's buttoned up, one other cool feature that I really like about this is they made sure to add a location to where if you have a flagpole holder, you want to add one, you're able to do that right on the reinforcement. So I love the forward thinking that the people at Mabett had when designing this. So I'm really happy with it. What do you think? All right, so there's the installation of the Mabett tailgate reinforcement. Again, I'm really happy with the way it looks, the quality, the feel, the weight to it. The installation wasn't too bad. Obviously, the hardest part about it was just getting the alignments right. Make sure you take your time and get that alignment as good as you can. You really want that thing to be able to open smooth and close just as smooth as it did from factory. And if you just bolt it up, tighten it down, you don't mess with the alignment, things are going to be off. So make sure you do that. But hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do so. Like the video, comment, let me know what you think. If you've seen one that you think looks better, I think this is actually one of the better looking ones. And again, I'm really like the quality. And obviously the people at Mabett are awesome. They work really well with the Bronco community, find out what products are needed, and they almost like custom, or they do, they custom design everything. I'll make sure to put a link to the product below. Definitely check it out. A lot of cool stuff from them guys over on Amazon. Hope you enjoyed the video. Catch you on the flip side.